Okay. Ha! My 100th win of the day. Oh hey, didn't see you there. My name is Mr. Barkley here at Westerberg High. I'm the phys ed teacher. Today, I'm going to be going over different reading strategies you can use within your classroom. So, let's go then. Now, normally I'm the phys ed teacher here at Westerberg High, but today, for the purposes of this video, we're going to be looking at the Drama 10 curriculum. Our book of choice is going to be The Invisible Actor by Yoshi, Oida, and Lorna Marshall. And the outcomes that we're going to be focusing on are going to be a part of the Drama 10 curriculum, of course. So, the first outcome that we're going to look at is CP 10.3, and that is to demonstrate the purposeful use of artistic voice to communicate perspective. Those are what the book talks about, so that is the outcome that we're going to be focusing on. The next outcome that we're going to focus on is CP 10.5, and that is to present and sustain a performance for an audience. Again, another topic that the book talks about. And then also CR 10.1, which is to respond critically using appropriate theatrical language to student and or professional works and genres. Yeah, all things that the book covers, all things that these teaching strategies that I will show you will also cover. In addition to the curriculum, we're going to be looking at the broad area of learning, sense of self. The book is going to be, sense of self, community, and place. The book is going to be talking about what you can do to get into character, what you can do for yourself, what you can do for the community of theater, and then what you can do to get into the place that you're going to be performing. It also, we're going to be talking about lifelong learning, and that is because the book is just going to tell us what we can do to continue our acting prowess. All right, Berkeley Battalion. Now that we got all that boring mumbo jumbo out of the way, I think it's about time we just get right on into talking about the reading process and different strategies that you can use to enhance the learning in your classroom. Don't forget to leave a like, and let's just get right on into it. So, the reading process can be broken down into 3 different steps: before reading, during reading, and after reading. We're going to talk about the before reading first, because it comes first. So, the before reading process can be broken down into 4 P's. That's how we're going to remember it. The first P, preview the text. This is where you set up the tone and the context of what you're reading. What is the title? Who is it written by? What is the synopsis of the book? Why was it written? That's kind of the stuff that you're going to talk about when you preview the text. The second P stands for purpose. Why are you reading this? Your students need to know why they're reading it so they can get engaged. And is there any new schema or vocabulary that they can add into their knowledge about the topic? The third P is going to be prior knowledge. So this is going to be, what do they already know about the book? What do they already know about the topics discussed in the book? Schema can also fit into this one. What are the words that they know? And what do they know about those words? And then the last one is going to be predict. Predict is a good one because it keeps students engaged. Students are going to make a prediction about what they think is going to happen in the book, or predict about how they can use something in the book, and then that's going to help them feel more connected to the book, and that's going to help them retain the information better. So I'm going to teach you a few teaching strategies that you can use to encourage the before reading process. So let's look at that. Now, before I talk to you about what reading strategies are, it's important to note that reading strategies are often interconnected and intertwined. I think that's pretty neat. You can often use reading strategies together to enhance learning. So, the before reading strategies that I have selected today are going to be the 1-minute brain dump and touch each heading. We're going to start with that last one, touch each heading. So, if we just take our book here and we flip to the chapter we're going to read today, which is chapter 4, you can notice that there are certain headings. See, right there, breathing. If you flip further, you get sound, okay? I want students to touch each of those headings and then kind of like figure out what those headings are going to be talking about. That's where the brain dump comes in. I want them to take 30 seconds to a minute to write down everything they know about those headings, and that's going to engage them in the reading, and that's going to get them to start thinking about what the reading could be talking about. So I'm going to show you how I would explain that to my students. All right, students, time to wake up. All right, I want you to open your book to chapter 4. So go ahead and do that. On chapter 4, you may notice that there is a title there. The title says breathing. Throughout chapter 4, there's going to be 4 different titles. I want you to go through, touch each of those headings, and then write them down on your paper, okay? Once you're done that, I'm going to give you about a minute to write down everything you know about those headings. All right, so go ahead and do that, and then I will tell you what to do once you're done that. So next, we're going to be talking about the during reading process. The during reading process is going to be what students do while they read. This is going to be assigned to them before they start reading, so they know what to do while they are reading. For the purposes of this video, we're going to be talking about the 2 strategies, one of them being group teaching, and then the other one being annotate the text. So, what is group teaching? Group teaching is where students will put themselves into a group, or you could put them into a group if you would prefer, and then each of them are going to read a section individually, and then come back to their group, and then talk about what they read. This way that everyone can understand what the text is saying without having to read the whole text themselves, which is very good at saving time. The second, annotate the text, is going to be while they're reading, they're going to write down stuff that surprises them, stuff that's going to be useful for that group discussion, stuff that maybe they have questions about or wonders, and other stuff that may be important to bring to that group discussion. All right, students, I want you to get into groups of 4 and then number yourselves off 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 1s, you're going to be reading breathing. 2s, you're going to be reading sound. 3s, you're going to be reading text. And 4s, you're going to be reading reflecting responsibility, just in that chapter 4 that we were talking about earlier. Once you're done reading, you are going to come back together as a group, and then each of you are going to explain what you read. While you are reading, I want you to annotate the text. So I want you to write down things that interest you, things that surprised you, things that you wonder, maybe you have questions about, anything you think is going to be important to bring back to your group discussion so that your peer members can understand what you read without having to read that text yourselves. So go ahead and start that. 999, 1,000. All right, so the last bit that I'm going to talk about today is the after reading strategies. After reading is what you use with your students to consolidate the learning. Why did they read this? And then taking what they read and applying it elsewhere. So the first after reading strategy is going to be paraphrasing. This is going to be partnered with their group teaching from the during reading strategies. They're just going to paraphrase what they read and explain that to the other students to give them a sense of what they read so that everyone kind of understands what the book was talking about without having to read the whole thing. The second strategy is going to be the 3, 2, 1 strategy. This is an easily adaptable strategy that basically just asks students to put down 3 things of one thing, 2 of another, and then 1 of another. So an example might be 3 things that they found interesting that others said, 3 things that they have questions about, or something of that sort. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to get them to ask 3 questions that they have about what other people said, 2 things that they found interesting, and 1 way that they can use what any of them have said in the future for when they are acting. So let's see how that's going to play out. All right, students, now that you're all done reading your section of the text, I want you to get back into your big groups and start paraphrasing what you read so that everyone can have an understanding of what the book was saying without having to read that section. The people who are not repeating what they just read, I want you to do a 3, 2, 1 on your piece of paper that you have been writing things down on. I want you to write 3 things that you have questions about, 2 things that interested you, and then 1 thing that you can use to further your acting in the future. So go ahead, take a start, have fun. Thank you for joining me on this warm summer day as we went over the before, during, and after reading strategies. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Be on a lookout for the next video. My sources are in the description. I'll see you next time. Peace out.